Okay, let's talk about a company you absolutely know, but maybe you don't realize just how much you know them. We're talking about Smuckers. Yeah, the jam and jelly people, but their pantry is packed with so much more, and it tells this fascinating story about what we're all snacking on right now.
I know, it sounds like the beginning of a really weird joke, right? But the punchline is, they all live under the same corporate roof, Smuckers. And this collection of brands that seems kinda random is actually at the heart of their latest financial report. It reveals a really smart strategy about what we're all buying. So let's unpack it.
So when you first look at the numbers from Smucker's most recent quarter, they seem a little confusing. They kind of paint two different pictures at the same time. But it's this paradox that actually tells us the most about where the company is really going.
Right, so how in the world can your sales be down 1% but also up 2%? It all comes down to what you're actually measuring. See, the overall number is down a tiny bit because Smucker's has been cleaning house, selling off some brands that weren't pulling their weight. But that comparable number, that only looks at their main, core business, and that part is growing. It tells us the brands they're really focused on are getting stronger.
So, with that in mind, let's look at our first shopping basket. This one is just overflowing with the brands that aren't just growing, they are absolutely exploding in popularity. These are the company's true breakout stars.
And the undisputed heavyweight champion in that basket? Uncrustables. I mean, when the CEO himself says you're on track to become a billion-dollar brand, you know you've got a monster hit on your hands. This isn't just a snack anymore. It's a legit cultural phenomenon.
And if you want to understand that billion-dollar momentum, just look at this number, 30,000. That's how many new convenience stores are now selling Uncrustables. Think about that. It's a massive push into gas stations and corner shops, putting this snack literally everywhere its fastest-growing audience might be.
You know, its success is really a perfect storm of a lot of different things. But the most important piece of this whole puzzle is the audience shift. Uncrustables has officially broken out of the kids' lunchbox. It's become a pop culture hit with Gen Z and millennials, and it's all being fueled by this constant buzz on social media and a stream of new flavors.
But Uncrustables is not the only star of the show. Get a load of Cafe Bustelo. A 36% jump in sales, that is just incredible. They've seriously ramped up their marketing, they've launched new roasts, and they're tapping into this huge audience that wants a stronger, more intense coffee at home. It's another absolute powerhouse driving growth.
Okay, so let's shift gears and move to our second shopping basket. This one is full of the classics, the icons we all grew up with. But hey, even icons need a fresh coat of paint now and then, and Smucker's is right in the middle of a major makeover for these beloved brands.
The game plan for Hostess is a classic four-step turnaround. First, they're simplifying everything, cutting about a quarter of their product types, or SKUs as they're called. Then, they're making their factories more efficient to save money, and at the same time, they're pouring that money back into a dedicated sales team and a whole brand refresh to make things like Twinkies feel cool and relevant again. It's a super clear plan to get this icon growing.
And those efficiency moves, they have a very real dollar impact. $30 million. That's the cost savings they expect every single year just from streamlining how they make things. And that's cash they can turn right around and reinvest into marketing and growing the brand.
Now, not every classic brand is having an easy time. Milk-Bone, for instance, actually saw its sales dip. And this is a perfect example of what's happening in the broader economy. When our budgets get tight, that nice-to-have spending is the first thing to go. And for a lot of people, sadly, that means fewer treats for their pets. It just goes to show how even a huge brand like Milk-Bone can feel the pinch when consumers get cautious.
Okay, so beyond specific brands, there's this massive external pressure that's affecting Smucker's entire business, and it's hitting one of its biggest categories especially hard. I'm talking about the crazy rising cost of coffee. Before we dive into the numbers, let's just quickly define a key term you'll hear a lot in the industry: green coffee. It sounds fancy, but all it is unroasted coffee beans. Simple as that. And for a company like Smucker's that owns Folgers and Cafe Bustelo, the price of these beans is one of their single biggest expenses. This slide right here tells the entire story of the coffee squeeze perfectly. Just look at this. Net sales are up a healthy 15%, mostly because they've had to raise prices on the shelf. But their profit is down 22%. That means the skyrocketing cost of green coffee is eating up every single new dollar they're bringing in, and then some. They're selling more, but they're actually making less. And as if record-high coffee bean prices weren't enough of a headache, there's another major headwind: U.S. tariffs. You see, because green coffee can't really be grown at scale in the US, it all has to be imported. So these tariffs are basically a direct tax on their most important ingredient, and the impact is huge. It's now expected to shave 50 cents per share off their annual earnings.
So, you've got breakout stars in one basket, iconic brands getting a makeover in the other, and all these major cost pressures coming from the outside. What does the future actually look like? Well, let's check the forecast. Now, despite all those cost challenges we just talked about, would you look at the company's outlook? They are actually raising their forecast for sales growth and for free cash flow. That's the real cash they have left after running the business. And they're holding their earnings per share steady. That's a huge signal that the insane growth from brands like Uncrustables is strong enough to power them right through these headwinds. It shows they have real confidence in the year ahead.
And all of this brings us right back to you and me, the shopper. Smucker's entire strategy is really a bet on what we're all going to do when we're standing in the grocery aisle. As the cost of making everything from coffee to Twinkies goes up, it forces a question on all of us. Do we stick with the familiar brands we love, even if they cost a little more? Or is this the moment we finally decide to try something new? The answer to that question is going to shape the future of all of our pantries.